Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello. Hi, my name's Jeremiah Johnson. Some of you might know me by my other name, Nullsleep. I'm a musician and computer artist from New York City. First time here in Croatia. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Um, Tonight, I'm actually talking. You might, if you know my work, you might expect me to be talking about Game Boys or Nintendos or something like that tonight. Um, what I'm actually talking about is going to be something a little different. Can we get the video switched over? Yes? Okay. So my talk tonight is going to be on strategies for a digital afterlife. This is something that's going to be a little bit related to some of the topics Chris was talking about in terms of ephemerality of data and versus persistence of data. The fact that we live so much of our lives online now, and we leave so much of a data trail and history behind us. Um, about a year and a half ago, I lost someone in my life that I was very close with, and it sort of led me to think a lot about these things. I've also dealt with depression in my life. I don't know if there are those of you in the audience that have had similar experiences, but as a result of that, I think about death a lot. I'm not a morbid person, but it's something that crosses my mind, and I wonder about what happens after we die. Um, so I this proposal is a sort of way of exploring some of those ideas and trying to process what it means to blink out of existence. Um, the thing that's strange is when when someone dies now, there are parts of them that live on in this sort of ghostly state on the web. You know, almost everyone has Facebook accounts. Um, a lot of people use Twitter accounts, Instagram now. We have all these different social networks, and we go from one to another depending on whichever one is the most popular at the time. Um, and we also know now that all of this data is being archived and it's being sold to companies and it's being, uh, looked over by the U.S. government at this point. We know, and so this is a little bit about thinking about what what benefit can we take out of the fact that that data is all cataloged and is persistent, and we have our stories sort of journaled for us online, whether we want it or not. So the idea behind this, and I'm gonna sort of put out a proposal, and I don't know if this is a good idea or if it's a bad idea. It's basically a conversation about whether or not it's a good idea to sort of try to create a construct of oneself that can live on past when our physical selves die. So, what can we do to sort of take that data that we've left behind and use it to create a sort of artificial digital version of ourselves that can continue to operate on social networks, can continue to interact with our group of family and friends, and and can continue to produce new works. For example, specific to myself, something that could continue producing music, something that could continue producing art. Um, so, uh, so the idea behind the construct is I'm going to just sort of give one version of what form this could take. Um, so so focusing on three different things: Twitter, email, and then a sort of creativity module or production module. So the first being Twitter. You probably know that there are services that let you download all of your data from Twitter. You can download the entirety of everything that you all of your Twitter activity from the time that you started using the site up until the moment you die. There are websites also that actually catalog the last tweets that people have made before they died. Um, so taking that data, it's possible to sort of do a text analysis on it, and find the sort of themes that are common. What do people talk about most often? What are our interests? What is the way that we phrase things? And basically use that data that's already existing and build a sort of dictionary based around each particular user, and then take that dictionary and also sort of categorize the types of tweets people make. Are they talking about sort of issues in their personal life? Are they talking about current events? Are they talking about shows that they're going to? Whatever they are, people tend to have a certain pattern of what they tweet about and how they tweet about it. And in taking that sort of data and doing an analysis of it, it's possible to sort of break down their activity into archetypal categories. Um, and then once you have that, you can go about writing a program to basically generate new material and sort of be able to take the information that about the activity that someone has already sort of put out there while they've been alive, and actually continue to do that while they're after they're gone. So this part of the project is about a sort of a public presence, a continued public presence, a continued social presence. And the reason that this part of it was of interest to me is because it's strange to see accounts that remain active after a person is gone, sorry, not remain active, accounts that remain but are inactive after a person is gone. And I started thinking, would it be a comfort in some way to see sort of activity that would mirror what the way that person used to talk, that would be a reminder of what they were like, and would sort of allow them to live on a little bit, even after they're gone. Um, the second part of this is emails. So I thought that so while the Twitter thing is a sort of public presence and it's a bit less personal, the email aspect of it would be something where, as opposed to sort of analyzing activity and algorithmically generating this data, the email aspect would be something where you, while you were still here, you would basically write messages to the people that are most important to you in your life, friends, family. Sort of say the things in these emails that, for one reason or another, you weren't able to say in conversation. There were awkward things that you sort of wanted to talk to this person about, but for some reason you couldn't get over that emotional, hurdle of opening up while they were still here, while you were still here. But these are things that sort of you would have liked to resolve. So if you've ever lost someone in your life, you probably have something that you wish you would have said to them before they were gone. And so this is sort of about that. It's being able to sort of say the things that you wish you could have said, um, and being able to make sure that they do get said, even if you are gone before you expect it. Um, the third part of this is the idea of taking whatever sort of whatever work you put out into the world. So if you're a writer, being able to look at the body of your work and do an analysis of it, similar to what we talked about with Twitter. If you're a musician or an artist, being able to do something similarly to that. So there are ways of generatively producing music. There are ways of generatively producing artworks, and if you spend the time to sort of work on analyzing your work while you're here, and sort of looking at what themes run through it, and looking at what for instance, in terms of graphic design, looking at what type of visual elements you see occurring time and time again in the works that you produce, it's possible to write software that will be able to sort of create these works for you generatively even after you're gone. Um, the the aspect of this is another part of the sort of public aspect of this project. So being able to continue to produce and to continue to put your name to something that you're putting out there into the world, even after you're no longer here. Um, so moving on from this, I wanted to talk about the sort of practical considerations behind a project like this. So one of the most important, I think, is when as something that we often, or something that we don't often think about, but something that we do have to think about when someone passes away, is sort of who is in charge of their estate, of handling what needs to be done when they pass away. And we don't really give much thought at this point to what happens to their digital information, what happens to their accounts, what happens to all of these aspects of their online lives. And I think it's a little bit strange because we lead an increasingly large portion of our lives online. So it's a bit strange that we still have this very focused attention on the physical world, while the all of this digital information that we've put out there and that is part of who we were and who we are, uh, just sort of just sort of stays in whatever state it was in when we die, and it persists until the website shuts down or whatever else happens to it. So part of this project is sort of the process of how to select a digital caretaker for your information, for your accounts, and what sort of characteristics you would need in a person like that. Um, I've kind of broadly categorized that into two main characteristics. The first being, it has to be someone that you obviously trust uh, very completely. This is someone that's going to be responsible for sort of implementing whatever you've set up after you're gone, and you don't want them to be able to. You don't want to put this in the hands of someone that you don't trust completely, because they're going to have a lot of power over how you are portrayed after you're gone. The other aspect of it is someone that is technically capable. So a lot of these things require a bit of could require a bit of maintenance, a bit of setup, and you need to be putting this in the hands of someone that is capable of sort of evolving the software that either you or someone else has written to fulfill these tasks, and also doing things like migrating it to additional social networks. As time goes on, you know, it seems almost inconceivable now, but at a certain time, Facebook will likely drop off and it will be replaced with something new. Twitter will likely drop off and it'll be replaced with something new, like we saw with Friendster being replaced by MySpace, being replaced by Facebook. Um, so the idea of being able to continue to evolve and migrate your presence, your sort of constructed digital presence from one social network to another, is going to be an important thing for this digital caretaker to be able to do. Um, so, as I said in the beginning, I don't know, if this is a good idea or if this is a bad idea, but I think these are things that are really worth thinking about right now, because it really is becoming more and more a part of our lives, in terms of how we live, how we interact with people, how we interact with friends. I mean, there are 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was like if you were out with someone you met on the internet, you were out with a friend you met on the internet, and you saw another friend of yours, and they said, "Oh, how do you guys know each other?" and you told that person, oh, we met on the internet, they would think that was really fucking weird. They would think it was incredibly strange that you had in real life like met up with this person that you knew only through a computer. And now we take it for granted that so many I mean, at least for myself, and I assume it's true of most people now, so many of the people we meet and we interact with in real life are people that we met on the internet for the first time, because it's a great connector of people, in terms of just being able to find people with similar shared interests all around the world. Um, so I don't know. I think that these are ideas that are going to be increasingly more important. There are already sort of companies that are focusing on this type of service. Companies that allow you to sort of transfer all the information in your accounts into the possession of someone else. Companies that allow you to sort of schedule emails to be sent later on. But I think that it's important for some of us that are more technically minded and technically skilled, and I'm sure there are a lot of you in the audience tonight that have those skills. I think it's important for us to be building tools that will enable people to do this themselves, because there's always a risk when you put control in the hands of a company, that things aren't going to be handled the right way. So these are definitely important things for us to be building tools for ourselves. Um, and then the other question is this something that it's smart to do? Is it going to be a comfort to the people that we leave behind if we sort of have this presence that continues on, even after our physical selves are no longer here, or is it going to be creepy? Is it going to be something that's strange? Is it going to make the loss even more drawn out and more difficult? And so I sort of want to just leave that there, and at this point, I wanted to open it up to any discussion. If anyone has any thoughts about anything that I've talked about, if anyone sort of has any feedback, whether or not this is a good idea or not, and if you'll remember, just at the end of Chris's talk, you heard him talking about wanting to make sure that 4chan was taken care of after if anything happened to him, and he said he couldn't talk about it, but what we're working on is actually a digital construct of Moot, that 4chan will be transferred to in the case that he is hit by a bus. So this is something that is the first project that Chris and I are working on together. That's a joke. So any questions, thoughts? Yeah. So the question is, do I think that our online life is as important as our offline life? Um, it's it's a difficult question to answer, right? We some of us it I think it differs from person to person. I think a lot of us portray ourselves in a certain way when we're interacting with people online. We sort of take on a bit of a character, or we can play a role. Um, but I think that there are other people that sort of act in a very genuine way online, and I think that that's something that has evolved over time. I think that in the very early days of the internet and the web, when sort of people first started getting online, it was very common to to have a screen name, where it was some handle that you used that wasn't your real name, and you could sort of play on it in whatever way you wanted. You could pretend to be one person one day to one person. You could pretend to be a completely different person the next day. But now with things like Facebook, it's like you Facebook is increasingly strict about the name policies. You have to sort of have a real name on there. You can't put fake names in. There are people that get away with it, but if usually those accounts end up getting deactivated eventually, because when you request people, they ask, "Do you know this person?" And if enough people say no, then the account gets deactivated. So I think that the parts I think that the online part of our lives is becoming, if it's not as important already as our offline lives, I think it's heading in that direction, and I think that it's never going to be something where you can say they're equally important. It's always going to be some division of importance, but it is the aspect that we have the ability to sort of extend, right? We don't have the ability to extend our physical lives after death at this point. But we do have the ability to sort of ask these questions and be able to extend a digital life. You had a question also? Yeah. Okay. I wanna start repeating some of what you're saying. So what's the name of the Terrasim? Okay, uh, so there's a foundation called the Terrasim Foundation that is has already been working on this problem, and what they're doing is they are aggregating a lot of the data that you're putting out there into social networks, ranging from Twitter to YouTube, and they're using this to
Test.
construct.
The website where you can literally register a personhood simulation. And it's a very small project, but it's a very good AI researcher working on
Hmm.
this. The William Bainbridge is his name. And he's literally working with the Terasem Foundation for cyberrev.org, cyber revitalization, resurrection.
Okay.
And the long-term plan is literally to create simulations which are so realistic of the person that is deceased or even alive at a certain at a point, uh, to basically do what you are calling for. So
Yeah.
good news for
Yeah.
you. Precisely this exists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very heartened to hear that people are working on
Yeah.
this problem, and I think that as time goes on, we will probably see more and more of that coming up. But I think that it goes back to what I was saying about the importance of being able to build your own tools to do this also, and to sort of like empower individuals to manage this process themselves, and sort of cater it to each individual and what that person was like, and the idiosyncrasies of what it would be like to create a construct for them.
Trying to do it morally, but it's precisely what you're saying is they want to make the most authentic personhood
Yeah,
simulation alive or dead of who you are in life, most sincere. So, still what you want.
yeah,
They're trying to do it.
great, thank you.
First of all, I want to ask you, do you think that you can put your life in an algorithm? It's a philosophical question. Because is there some point where you can allow yourself a glitch?
Right.
And in what is the point of continuing your online existence if I can stop it now without my death, and it can continue without my interference, and what would it create? And do you think that maybe it's just I don't know, but a capitalist approach of overproduction, that you just can't allow yourself that production stops with your death?
Right.
Yeah.
So the first question, can we, do I think we can put our lives into an algorithm? The answer at this point in time would be obviously no. I don't think that's something that is possible for us to do. Can we can we approximate some of the behaviors and some of the communication styles and the sort of content that we are putting out there. I think that that is something that we have the ability to do at this point. Um, like I said, I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know if it's something that is worth pursuing. But I think it's something that it's a conversation worth having. And so the other so the other part of what you asked was if we can, so if it's possible to do this, we can set it running while we're still alive. Of course, I mean like there are Twitter bots out there, right? And these are not these are not modeled on people. Actually, that's not true. Some of the Twitter bots actually are modeled on people that are existing, but without those people's knowledge. So some Twitter bots actually are sort of analyzing data from existing Twitter accounts and using that data to for their activity to interact with people. And there's been a lot of research done in the way that bots communicate and what sort of communication techniques are most effective to get engagement from users and to sort of get additional followers and keep those bots growing. And this is, of course, this connects to the last part of your question about capitalism, and that's what the whole interest in bots are these are essentially used as marketing tools, and so the ability to sort of take the way that people are interacting on social networks and be able to model optimally engaging bots on these networks is something that is of interest to companies because they're then able to create this sense of grassroots marketing through these artificial intelligences that are just set running. And it's, of course, a lot of the times it's very easy to detect when you're interacting with a Twitter bot, but they're getting a lot better now. And the scary thing is, you really, once they get good enough, there's really not any way to tell whether or not you're interacting with a human or a piece of software unless you try to meet this being in real life. So the question about is this a case of capitalism, sort of the capitalistic inability to sort of let go and to always want to overproduce. Um, I don't know. I personally hate capitalism, so I would say that for me personally, my interest in it is not about overproduction. It's more about a sort of psychological and emotional question of how is it best to how do how would this affect how we deal with loss? And so I think that it's for me it's not about it's not like an egotistical thing. Like if I were to do something like this for myself, it would be not so that not because I don't think I should ever die and I should be immortal and the things I put out into the world are so great that they should never go away. It's more that I wonder if the people that I love and care about, my friends and family, would be comforted in some way by having this sort of continued presence. And yeah, it's a question that sort of remains to be answered. And but I think that as time goes on, we will see this question come up more and more, and we'll sort of see where that conversation goes. Any other questions?
I can make a question.
Oh, do you have a question?
Raiko, you can
Okay.
come with me.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because at some moment in your talk, I was thinking that your dear ones are the ones who are going to make the software, not you.
Right.
Because it's the people who actually want to have you.
Right.
Because
Right.
if you do it for yourself, then you are like a selfish and you
Yeah.
want to like live forever, and that's not cool.
Right.
This is like it's the people should make the software because they want you around, and that
Absolutely.
was like my thought. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not a question. It's like yeah, nice.
No, it's and
Yeah.
I totally agree. And as I said, this whole line of thought and questioning came out of the fact that I lost someone that was very important to me, and that I sort of had this desire for you know, I still follow this person on Twitter. You know, yeah. Right. I want this person to still be here and to sort of, even if I can't interact with them directly, to sort of have this reminder of that person.
Even when you move from a place to another, you still want to catch out with the people.
Right.
And they didn't die, but they are away. And it's this link.
Absolutely.
It's your choice, no? And not right.
No.
No? Okay.
Okay, so I think that's about all the time I have. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And if anyone's interested in talking one-on-one, yeah, I'll be around. So just come and find me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I would like to announce our music program for tonight, and I'll start with the newest club in Rijeka, Život, where Jeremiah will be. Would start 8-beat madness tomorrow from midnight. It's a very special club. It's the newest club in Rijeka, and you should certainly visit it. It's called Život, meaning life in Croatian, and it starts with a very cool group of DJs from the Northern Ireland, deep fried funk DJs. And after them, we would have super cool disco house duo from Amsterdam, Pretty Young Trouble, ending with Branko and Rade, basically people who are behind that very cool club and like people who are responsible for some of the best parties within the last few months in this city. The other club, it's quite close to Život, and it's called Tunnel, and it has a tradition of like hosting the best music in this city for years. We start now at midnight. The concert probably already started. It's a social wizard and a cantautor from San Francisco connected with the Burning Man Festival, Bear Kite. And after him, you have unique opportunity to see hip hop hippie poet from Havana, from a working class neighborhood in Havana, Alamar. It's called David De Omni. And after him, DJ Ripley and Fari Bradley, two super cool DJs and social researchers, will take you to ride through global tunes. And here on Local Brand, we promise you a best queer party on Adriatic Coast this summer. It's 6 martinis and the blowjob. It's a regular party here in Rijeka, but for this occasion, it's like kind of pimped up. We have a really nice selection of DJs behind some of the coolest queer parties in the region in Europe. We have Mice Mace here from Rijeka. They are kind of residents on 6 martinis in the blowjob parties. We have Super Teas from Venezia. We have Pet Show Bears from Berlin. Miss Konica and Gio from P. Crew Zagreb behind Participacija parties, queer parties in Zagreb, and Ili Lili Lee from Belgrade, who is a DJ member of a crew that are behind Yeteket super sophisticated queer nights in Belgrade. Enjoy your night.